Hey everybody, welcome back to Threat X3 Productions. Today we're going to be talking about Rogue Company and Impressions. I am Nick. Here with me today is...
Andrew.
Hello, Andrew. Our
Hi.
meta master himself.
That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
So speaking of meta, let's talk about some Rogue Company. I don't want to brag, but I'm sort of important, okay? Rogue Company came out. It had, like, the Founders Edition. I was lucky enough to get chosen. They sent me some codes, so obviously I jumped on that. The company that makes it is Hi-Rez. So this is the same company that makes Smite. It's the same company that makes Paladins, two games that I absolutely love. So now we're getting kind of like, okay, here's this modern / sort of pseudo-futuristic. It's not like futuristic like cyborgs and stuff like that, but it's just enough futuristic where it's, I guess I would compare it to maybe like Blops 2, where it's like a little bit in the future, but not like a long way in the future like Blops 3. So anyways, yeah. Rogue Company. What are we thinking about it so far?
I'm really liking it. I'm really enjoying it. I jumped on it. You sent me a code. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, because you're an important
Amazing
person
game. Yeah, I appreciate that. I had a blast with it. The first couple of hours were like extremely difficult in terms of learning curve, like just trying to learn the movements. I had a tough time with the general keybinds. I had to change them all. So I have very unique keybinds, and I don't know about you, but I had to change my crouch. I did not like that it was R3.
Yeah, right.
Even though like in Fortnite it's R3, but it's L3. I forget. It's one of those buttons. But like I use crouch. I always use crouch as like circle or B. That's every controller. It's always circle. And then I have my X as jump, and I have my dodge, like my roll, on R1.
Ooh, me
and
too.
Then I have my camera angles on R3. Like that's how I switch instead of L1 and R1. I think is switch.
Yeah. Usually it's R1.
Yeah, I have that as R3, and it works great for me.
And then because
that way I don't really have to ever take my finger off the trigger when I am rolling. And I found that when you're in a roll, like a little bit of a meta, when you're in a roll, you almost cannot be shot. You will not take barely any damage when you're mid-roll.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm wondering
that's why a lot of the time...
I wonder if it is either you're harder to hit or there is a little bit of an invulnerability window. You know what I mean? Because like they do that a lot in like Dark Souls or Dark Soul-like games.
So I was gonna bring up Remnant, right? Remember, like, when we were playing Remnant, and like you have that dodge window. That's I feel like it's similar in Rogue Company, but I don't think they intended on doing that. I noticed it worked like crazy. I almost popped a 4v1 like clutch the other day, but I lost it right at the end at the fourth guy. But I had like this really cool part where. It was just me against 4 dudes, and I was just rolling and dodging between every shot and like finding cover, popping them, and then like dodging back and forth. And I got to a point where I just like the last guy had like 25 HP. And I couldn't clutch it. But like talk about a game that is super competitive. Like they outlined that in the original demolition mode,
right,
which we'll go through all the modes after, but like their main mode is their competitive mode. And then they have another mode called Strikeout, which is kind of more relaxed, like a respawn type one where you have a certain amount of lives per round, and then when you go through them, like you basically, it's up to 3 rounds that you do, and you just have to win 3 times, I think it is. So and you have I think 5 lives, or 3 lives each. I think that's how it goes per round.
Yeah, because I mean, there's 9 there's 9 altogether, but you could essentially be alive the whole time, but all the 9 tick out. So it's more like tickets than actual lives or whatever. But
Yeah.
So getting to my kind of overall thoughts as well. Overall, like, I was very impressed with this. It's very well put together, considering that we are technically in the beta stages. I feel like this is one of the best betas out there so far. At least from what I can remember. I mean, I remember Fortnite having a lot of problems. I remember, I don't know, like, I guess Battlefield's probably another really good example where, like, when Battlefield, like, 3 and Battlefield 4 first came out, it was just, like, it was rough those first couple of weeks, you know what I mean? And in this particular instance, I really feel like it's running really smooth. I've had some instances where, you know, that really annoying thing that happens with ping, where you get behind cover, but you still somehow die, and you're like, I know I was fucking behind. I hate when that happens. It does still happen, but I do feel like, you know, whether it's a system, like an actual cover system or something, it does seem like you are pretty much below the cover enough that you won't get hit if you are actually behind it or something, or as long as you're not, like, peeking your head out, obviously. So
of course.
It hasn't happened a lot, but I'd say, I guess it happens enough where it's like, okay, they do still have some room to go, but even saying that, I do feel like it's running really smooth. Luckily, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but luckily right now it's not uber sweaty, and I do feel like I'm actually doing really good. Like, ridiculously good. Speaking of clutches, I had a 5 kill spree. So basically I wiped the team, and then somebody was coming to get me. I got the first guy that respawned, but then the second guy ended up getting me. But it was just like one after another. I was playing as the breach guy, so that motherfucker with the huge riot shield that you can put down. And I like his machine gun. Yeah. His freaking machine gun is awesome. Dear God. Yeah. Anyway, so I was just
nuts,
pounding on people, just and I think the thing
base
is,
damage is like 15 on that.
Exactly, right so now. Like they were all coming from, it was in 16. the shipyard, and they were all coming towards the center control point, and there's that little place kind of up, you know what I mean? Like where they can kind of look over. Yeah. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, so they were kind of there, and 3 of them lined up over there, and then I'm like, okay, they have to be trying to flank me. I kind of dodge roll over to the other side, switch shoulders. Sure enough, 2 of them are there. I'm like, brrr. They get me down to half life, and I'm, brrr. Okay, the second one's gone. I'm like, all right, they have to be respawning soon. And sure enough, boom, get the first one, and the second one ends up getting me. And I was like, I do not know the last time, because I'm an old fart, you know, behind the scenes. I'm a 32-year-old old man who reflexes are just not what they used to be. So it has been a very long time that I've been able to clutch it that hard. You know, I'm like white knuckling it the whole time, just like fuck,
like sweating on your controller.
I know, right? It's just like, it was really good. So overall, like the game itself.
You playing Strikeout?
Yeah, Strikeout. Yeah.
Got it.
Out of the 2, I do think I like Strikeout more, just because I kind of like. I mean, first off, I like respawns. I don't really like games that you can't respawn.
You wait. You sit there waiting.
Yeah. It all depends. You know what I mean? But in general, I don't usually like it. But I also just like how instead of just respawning endlessly for, let's say, 10 minutes or whatever, I do like the fact that there are a limited, so you still have to be tactical. You still have to, you know, think about it, but you can make a mistake, you know, because I think that's the one thing I don't like about games that don't let you respawn is you make a mistake, like a single mistake, and then you're out, and then, you know, I just feel like the learning experience is easier when I'm able to respawn, take it at it from a different angle, you know, in the moment rather than waiting until another round. So that's just me personally. But overall, I like both modes, because even with the demolition one, I actually thought I was doing pretty good. The only thing I noticed, let me know your experience. The only thing I noticed with demolition in particular is I was either rolling over people or getting rolled over.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I found there was a few. I played one or two games where our team was just getting destroyed, mauled for the first like 6 rounds, and then we ended up coming back and winning the game like 7-5, and it was insane. Like the clutch was nuts, and this whole our whole team like just came out of nowhere, and we all like just kind of clutched up, and there were no comms. The last few days I've been playing with the full crew of guys who I've been able to like convince them to get the game, or either because if you can just buy the basically buy a code with the closed beta, like the founders packs,
there's
or
a
you can get
$14 one, and then there's like I want to say there's either what's the one that lets you unlock everybody? Is that the $29.99?
Yeah. 29 US, 39 39
Monopoly
Canadian.
money.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, so I just, oh man, I'm trying to write something down before
I threw you off
forget
with
it,
the Monopoly money. I know.
Yeah.
So let's get into the characters real fast. So, first off, who's your main?
Okay, I don't have a main,
Boo!
but
I'm just kidding.
Stats show that I play certain characters. Like, I love going to the statistics. I love that the statistics show what characters you played the most. Now, the 3 characters I've played the most, which, okay, this is interesting, because I played Scorch the most, because I read up on Scorch. I do a lot of, like, research. That's why
you're the meta master.
The meta master, yeah. I do a lot of research on characters and metas, and Scorch is insane. When she has her fire damage, it not only does a ridiculous amount of fire damage per second, but it also does it to the down state as well. So when you don't have to worry about thirsting someone when you basically, because if they're not right beside that person, you're pushing either way, because your fire damage lasts so freaking long.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how long it is. I don't have the full stats in front of me, but I know it's insane. Like the amount of time that her fire damage holds for. But I do like the respawn rate. I do like the recharge rate, and how it's not almost immediate with all of these characters. It takes time. So you can only really use it once per round, which is really, really, really nice. But so Scorch, I played for about 3 hours worth. I'm looking at it now. Dima about 2, just over 2. So now here are the next couple. Dallas, Saint, Lancer, and Ronin are all around 44 minutes. So I've been taking my time with those guys, and every now and again playing like an hour or so with them. They're just under an hour. And then Trench and Anvil, and then obviously there are other characters that I don't care about near the end. So
yeah.
But I've just been doing my absolute best to try and clean up kills and learn how to revive, knowing like how to peek corners, and headshots are so important.
Yeah.
It's insane how much I realize headshots are important.
Yeah.
Because it truly does make a huge difference when you're on like a 1v1, and most of the fights are 1v1s.
Yeah. So me personally,
unless it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Me personally, my main, if I had to say my main, I guess I would probably say Saint. I like that he has the revive drone, but I also how he has an automatic rifle with a scope on it. Obviously, it's not like, a 4-time scope, but it's still a scope, and so I kind of like that about him. And
now, is that your go-to, the scope rifle? Because he has a burst as well that's super, it's overpowered.
I don't personally like it, just because I don't like the... If there's a burst weapon, it better burst as fast as I'm pressing the trigger. I don't like I don't like waiting, even if it's just like a half second in between each burst for me to shoot again. I don't like the wait, so it's really just like an ADD thing where I'm just like, it's too long. And then right under Saint is Anvil, because I am very much, one, that freaking LMG dude, that's the one I got the clutch on, so it's like he's going to be my boy for a while, just because I've never done that good. But also, I am very much a support, which is why Saint and Anvil, they're my boys, because they're very support. You get that huge, riot shield that you can put down and then just like pop off. You got a nice kind of area of denial if you set it up right. So I really like that.
Yeah.
However, I did just unlock. I'm trying to see. Do you know who the Asian guy is with the tracking dart?
Yeah, that's Talon.
Talon. Yep, there he is. Okay, I had to kind of scroll up and down, but Talon, his ultimate or whatever, his ability. God, why am I so stupid right now? His ability, you throw out a dart. And it does a little ping so you can see where you're going. So in Strikeout in particular, since, respawns are active, it's nice to know when they're coming from your flank. So
True.
I always set up one in the flank first. So as I'm coming up towards the A, I throw a one in the back because I know they're probably going to try to... And then when it recharges, because the recharge isn't too bad, I think the most darts I've had up at one time is 3 darts. So I was able to cover a pretty good
multiple
area.
Darts.
Mm-hmm. So you can cover a pretty good area. As long as they don't find it and, shoot it down, obviously, you can have a couple up at the same time, which is really good. Because as long as you have a pretty good team and they're paying the fuck attention, like, this is very freaking useful. So much so that there was a couple of times it was a close match. We're talking they'd get one, I'd get one, we get another one, they get another 2, not another 2, you know what I mean, but like it was really close where it was just back and forth. They won one, I won one, and it was like game point, both of us had 2, so it's game point match or match point, I don't know. And so it's down to the wire. It's the center, area. It's not on the boat. It's on the center area. I have 1 dart up in front, 1 dart in back, 1 on the flank. And we see that they're trying to come from behind, but there's also 1 guy in front. So I go to the back, take out 2 of them. They take out 1. And then, like, we kind of go around their flank and thirst them and end up winning the whole match. So... he's actually super freaking useful, and I think it is being able to put up multiple is really good. You can cover a pretty good area. The dart itself doesn't really cover like a giant area, so you really have to be strategic about where you want to put it, because you don't want to just
corners, like real nice, like busy corners, or
because it's a little circle. It's like a little circle that shows up on the map, and it'll just go boop, boop, and it's basically like a UAV from Call of Duty, where it just keeps constantly going boop boop. I don't know if they're going to nerf it because of how useful it is. It almost seems like maybe there should be a time limit on it because it is freaking useful to have like 3 of those up and you have the entire area, because if I just throw it in the center, it wouldn't even help us. We wouldn't know where they were coming from until they were literally right on the spot. But you set it up strategically and they can't come at you from any angle without you knowing about it.
Yeah.
So Talon, I really like him. He might be my new main just for that reason.
Okay.
But
and you
also
just unlocked
I would.
Him, or you're going to?
I just did. So I've been clutching with him pretty good. And his SMG that he has is, I think he has an SMG and then like the M4 or no, not the M4, like the M1 like single shot or whatever. I don't really like single shots, so but I like him. Although I don't know if he would be very useful in a demolitions type of situation because those are so quick. You know what I mean? Like if you don't get him on that first round, obviously you have to go on the second round or whatever. So Strikeout, he is really strong in that because they could keep coming at you and they could keep coming at you from different angles. So personally, I think he does way better in Strikeout than he does in Demolition.
What's it like? Is his passive kind of useless? Like, I don't really know if I've ever had to pick up things.
I mean, the only advantage would be, let's say you kill somebody and they drop an incendiary, grenade or just a grenade in general. You don't have to be right next to it in order to pick it up. So that's kind of cool. So like if it's out in the open, you can stay in cover and mag grip it towards you or whatever. So that it is useful in situations, but I'd say 75% of the time it's kind of useless. It's something I don't even really think about, honestly. So that's the disadvantage towards them, I guess.
That KA 30, is one of the easiest guns to learn how to play as for an assault rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And it just has really like well balanced upgrades for the weapons too. I love is that it's like CS:GO meets Valorant.
Yeah, and see, Valorant
meets-
just came out, but I feel like a lot of people are just kind of meh about it. And then this
Right.
comes out on its heels, because I guess that's one thing we haven't really brought up
It's
yet.
got a
For
super
anybody-
competitive community. Like,
Yeah.
there's crazy competitive.
But that's one thing we haven't brought up for anybody who like might not know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing we didn't bring up. It is kind of like CS:GO in the sense of like you start off with a pistol, and then you have to go and buy stuff. So I do kind of like that, because then it is it's incentive to do better, therefore incentive to be more strategic. And then, like you said, the perks are very akin to like perks you would get in like Call of Duty. You know, they don't change the game by any means, but at the same time, it does give you just a little one up sometimes. Like a really good example, one that I always like to save up for is the body armor. So you basically get 20 hit points extra, and that could be the difference between
25. Is it 25?
Oh, is it 25? Okay, yeah.
I think it's 25.
That would make sense. But yeah, it basically gives you maybe one more hit so that you can fight just a little bit longer, because it doesn't recharge like your normal health, so it really just kind of gives you one extra hit. But yeah, I really like the buy system, because then you kind of have to go along. Each person has 2 primaries that they can bring into battle with them, and you get to choose between them. Like,
You can only pick one at a time.
yeah, you can only pick one at a time, and so then you have to really, not only that, but then you can upgrade it, so then maybe it has a bigger magazine.
A lot of decision making.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of decision making. Because like, if you realize that, like, for example, for me, like sometimes I'll pick Scorch, and when I pick Scorch, I'll go for her SMG like immediately. When I can upgrade that, and it's 5,000 to upgrade each upgrade, and there's 3 total. And now it's 8,000 just to get the weapon. And what some people may not know is you always get 7,500 from every round. So you at least get to upgrade like a possible weapon upgrade, and then you get like, I don't know, just say a couple of perks. But if you don't do any damage or you die immediately and your team doesn't win, like you lose the first round, there's a huge chance of you to not be able to upgrade the second round to your primary weapon, which really kind of, like, you sit there and wait with all your cash for the next round, or do you like use like equipment and upgrade perks and whatnot? There's so much decision making and then one time I was playing her, and I couldn't figure out if I wanted to switch to the shotgun, but it was too late. It was like round 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, like we're going to respawn after 6 rounds and start fresh again. So like once you do 6 rounds, it's like a timeout, a halftime. And then you get to pick a new rogue and then start it over again from the bottom. So like by the time you go to pick another primary, if you're not focusing primarily on one weapon, then switching it out, you don't get the benefit out of like using that, like upgrading that weapon. So
that's one part
I did that one time, and I was like, oh crap, what am I doing? You know? So
yeah, that's one part I don't know how I feel about, because in particular Demolition, you don't get respawns, so I already kind of don't like that in the first place. Now in the past, I would say like maybe the first 4 times I played it, I just went ahead and switched to a different character depending on if I was attacking or defending. Like if I was defending, I'd be Anvil. If I was attacking, I'd be Saint. So I'd kind of switch it up depending on that. There was one time I just stayed the same character the whole time, and then realized that you have to start over regardless of if you change characters. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Because like, for instance, Saint, if I built him up, I leveled up his guns and everything, and then the 6th one you switch, and then you have to start all over. It's kind of like, well, damn it. So I don't know how I feel about. I get
it.
Know
how
like,
I felt at first, and then I realized I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Because like then your character is super overpowered by the end. Like the point is to choose your perks and your upgrades based on the gameplay and how the game is going. That's why it's it's so gradual, not drastic, right?
Yeah,
like it allows you to kind of take your time and go, okay, so like they're playing A all the time, and they've got one guy who rushes B side back way. I'm gonna stick C4 there, so I'm gonna push. I'm gonna use Saint I'm gonna use Anvil and throw my C4 there and wait for him to come by. Right. And I'm gonna like upgrade that shit to the max so that I know he's gonna be there. So you're gonna put more effort into like, and possibly putting like I think you could get a reload on your down state. When you down someone, you can get an automatic reload. That's like a $10,000 perk. So there's so many cool perks that are available late game that when you pick a high up perk, that's your pick basically for the round. Because I think it's like it averages like 10,000 a round if you get a kill or an elim or a down or whatever, or your team wins. So like realistically, you're picking and choosing, and I love how gradual it is, and I love that it resets, because then it gives like that opposing team another chance if they're getting slaughtered by picking the wrong player or picking, you know what I mean? Because if you accidentally pick the wrong character, like you're stuck with them for 6 rounds. And then when it restarts, like the team that's shredding you isn't like totally equipped per se. Like they're back
that makes sense. That makes sense. You've sold me on it. So overall, you know, we kind of gone through a lot now. So I mean, overall, I don't know. We can't really like rank this or whatever. We can't like, you know, but like, I guess, maybe what I can say is like, how long do you see yourself playing this? Maybe that's the best, because this is technically free to play, even though, you know, you had to buy into it to be early. But let's assume this is a free to play game, which for us it was because we had codes. But this is a free to play game, as long as the company treats us good, and if we use paladins and smite as examples, they're gonna treat us good.
Stepping stones,
But putting that in mind, how long would you say that you would want to play this game?
So I would pop in and out right now. My buddies and I are having a blast with it. It's super competitive. Like, it's funny thinking that we were playing Strikeout last night, the 4 of us, and we're like fairly decent at the game. Like, I think I just hit over 200 kills in under 10 hours. So like, you know, like we play it fairly competitively. Nice. But like I found that we were getting absolutely destroyed in Strikeout, and I don't know if there's some sort of skill-based matchmaking involved, but the moment we all pair up together, we get like we have such a tough time. And maybe it's just like uncoordination, but like I have a feeling that like we were getting absolutely shredded by some teams. Like some of these, like every Ronin that I would play was the sweatiest and most insane character in every game. Like to the point where they were the last on the team and they were a huge sweat to fight. And sometimes it would have to be a 3v1 just to get her because she was so difficult to kill. And but like, we were having more fun in Demolition, and it's just super rewarding when you get to, destroy some kids in a round, like where you have like full team coercion and like you're really kind of like you're talking and you're like you're finding your corners, and you know everyone's saying, okay, I'm rushing B or I'm rushing A or blah blah blah. Like it's so rewarding when you're able to get a sweet win. And even a sweep like an ace. Like we last night we hit 2 7 bombs in a row, and it was like, or not in a row, but like 2 wins, like ace wins straight, and it was kind of nuts, an absolute blast. So anyways, it's a lot of fun. I see myself playing this for at least a few more months, but it really depends on the people that are playing with me, I guess.
So in a perfect world, where just like in Paladins, I think I think in Paladins, like every month and a half, they have a new character. And I think the same thing for Smite. Like Smite, you just got like Cthulhu. So like they're still popping out things. And Smite's been around even longer than Paladins. So using those as examples, I guess, if I can use those as examples, I assume that the same company is going to give me the same amount of love and respect to this thing. In a perfect world, I'd say, even if it's just on a casual basis, I could see myself going at least like 6 months. I want to see how this really fleshes out. I want to see, this might not be a thing I play daily, but this is definitely a thing that, like, you know, like, hey, I feel like something competitive, I'm going to go to this, you know, over.
Depends on how frequently they drop content, though.
Exactly.
Like, if it's very frequent, then you're coming back to it constantly. But like if it's every 3 months or every 4 months, maybe that's a little
true.
Like
which is why I bring up, you know,
window,
Paladins and Smite, because even if they're not coming out with a character like every other week or something, they're coming out. They got battle passes. I'm going off of that. Rogue Company could be completely opposite, where they don't do things for like 3 months at a time. But at least going off of the information we have, which is, you know, Hi-Rez, Smite and Paladins. Going off of that information, I think it's easy to say. Now, the biggest variable on whether or not they'll be able to keep doing that is the community. Being the fact that it is so kind of hyper competitive, it almost makes it hard to have, you know, filthy casuals or whatever. So I think that's the only thing that's going to be the deciding factor, you know, because I feel like we can trust Hi-Rez, but unfortunately, if nobody coming to play the game, they could have like 6 new characters planned, but only get to 3 of them because everybody just got bored with the game. I don't want that to happen because it's an awesome freaking game, but it might happen. So now it's your guys' turn. What do you guys think about Rogue Company? You know, are you having a blast? Are you going to end up picking it up when it's free? Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for joining us. Remember, every Sunday, starting in August, Nerd Radio. 8 hours of nerd topics to keep you busy. I was Nick.
And I'm Andrew.
There you go. You'll get used to it.
Also, like and subscribe.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us at
swipe. I don't know how you do it.
Follow us on at TX3 Productions. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for joining us on Threat X3 Productions. You have yourself a good day.